Morning, everybody. We also got Coach in here as well. And Eric, Nalene. We are going to do some Florida thoughts, just quick thoughts after rewatching the game. And then also Texas is back in the driver's seat, guys. The scenario we needed with the Georgia or LSU loss, we got our wish and both lost. So that's awesome. And then the renewed Arkansas rivalry. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then Eric has some notes on the recruiting sentiment. How do the coaches and staff and players and blah, blah, blah. How do they think everything's going to end up for us if we win out? Should be good news. Roaster, good morning. Happy to see you. Fellas.
We might as well just start getting Roaster on the show with us. He's here every Monday.
No, he's dedicated. All right. So, Eric, you were at the game, right?
I was.
How'd it go?
Well, it was fun. I mean, as you'd imagine, it was 35-0 in the first half.
Yep.
21 points scored in the last 6 minutes of the first half. It was you feel bad. I've been on the other side of that. Florida fans, they travel halfway across the country. It's, you still make the most of it. It's still a good trip. But, yeah, you kind of feel bad for them. They were just hoping to score a field goal at one point. They actually got a pretty loud applause when they got that field goal. But a lot of things stood out to me. That was probably Sark's best play calling all season. Clearly, he had some new designs drawn up. Our group text message was going pretty wild on some of that stuff. Yeah, I got on Twitter yesterday, and I think I saw that reverse about 100 times. So everybody was eating up that play.
The reverse.
Yeah. Quinn, hey man, Quinn had some good footwork on that. That's not something a quarterback is used to doing.
Yeah,
full on pirouette. That was great. Quinn played quite well. Isaiah Bond, having him back, I think reinforced the fact that he's one of the best players on the team. You could tell by his absence as much as when he's there. The passing game was lacking. The offense lacked dynamism without him. So it was great having him back. Alfred Collins stood out. 2 tips, 2 interceptions. Trey Moore stood out as well. Almost got a sack. To me, it was a sack. It looked like a sack. Obviously the quarterback advanced the ball a little bit, so he didn't get credit for it. But Trey Moore, back-to-back weeks, looking like the guy they got out of the transfer portal. So everything was good, man. That was like Paul Wadlington called it, a slump buster. They needed that, and now you see what they can grow off of it and get ready for a rivalry game.
How dare they steal Trey's sack?
I know, man.
It's so brutal, dude.
I didn't realize till I rewatched the half yesterday. I was like, damn, that quarterback advanced. There's no way he got credit for that. So, that was a bummer. But he had a couple tackles for loss. One play in space, he peeled off of. He was going after the quarterback, peeled off and got on the tight end. It was a great play, but just changed direction and walked the tight end down. So, yeah, he had a good game. It was great to see that. I can't help but think that this kind of feels like last year where they hit that little malaise in October, and then out of November they turned it on and started playing a whole lot better. So hopefully hopefully we're seeing signs of that.
I think we could have started DJ Lagway's villain arc though. To have to watch Florida get beat that bad in Texas, he's going to be coming for us next year. He's going to be a good quarterback.
Yeah, I was bummed out. I corresponded with his dad a whole lot. He was 2 sections over, but it was a madhouse. I couldn't get over there to say hi to him. But that's a bummer, man. You know that. When you sign to that school, you look at the schedule and you're like, damn, get Texas, you're going to get a lot of family there, and then just have it ripped from you because of the hamstring. But, hopefully he's back next year with Napier and the gang, and he's there when Texas goes over to Gainesville.
Yeah. Code, what'd you think?
I thought it was really good, a complete performance, honestly, on both sides of the ball. I was happy to see the offense get back in rhythm and get going. Glad to have Isaiah Bond back, man. Like, he's just so special, right? Like, most people can't take a reverse, almost take it to the house. And then catch the swing pass and then take that to the house. It's like he just moves at a different speed than everybody else on the field. Doesn't get any easier for my man Gunnar Helm, but boost those stats, baby. I need this Mackey Award winning trophy. We need that. But for the most part, that was a complete performance, man. I was happy to see the defense. It's just consistent, right? Like every game, somebody's making plays from either the front four, the linebackers, or in the secondary. So to see that continue is just great to see, no matter who the opponent is. And man, just a solid performance. Glad to see Quinn back, throw the ball deep, right? So people can now, I guess, be quiet a little bit. But I thought he played well, and I was happy to see the running backs in space, make people miss. I thought the Texas team offense got back to that. Early in the season, they were good at yards after catch, right? They were making everybody miss and getting those extra yards, and I was happy to see that again.
Yeah, Quinn should have had 5 touchdowns in the first half, right? DeAndre dropped that one, or he was bobbling that one. Quinn could have had an even bigger game. So, Quinn gets credit for those throws, even if they weren't completed. That looked good. I mean, the worst part about the whole game is there was so much garbage time in it that they got over 300 yards. I was having a lot of fun with that stat of them not allowing 300 yards yet at all to a single opponent all season.
Yeah.
And it was just the amount of garbage time that allowed them to get it, at a full half. Now, Sark doesn't consider any time garbage time. All those guys are getting graded in the third and fourth quarter as hard as the guys in the first and second quarter. But that was a bummer. They definitely allowed some running yards that was a little uncharacteristic, but you're playing a lot of younger guys, a lot of guys that hadn't played a lot. They'll be better for it long term, but selfishly, I wanted them to hold them to 299.
Yeah, that bothered me. Even when they got 17, I was like, don't give them 17.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, because you're thinking that scoring average, right? I think they're at 11.3
right.
going into that game, and it was 17. I had predicted a 27-10 win just because I hadn't seen enough from the offensive late. Now, I'll probably be predicting a little bit different score next weekend. So it was good to see a get-right game on offense. And the defense played well. It's just that amount of garbage time, you're not going to keep a motivated Florida off the board. They played hard. Like I said before, I hope they keep Napier and give him another chance to come back. He's got to get his recruiting right, though.
Yeah, they will. They put out the dreaded vote of confidence prior to our game, which they knew what was coming around the corner, it seems like. Also, with whatever's going on with the Florida basketball coach, the AD's got a little bit of a handful right now. I listening to the Florida podcast, the Florida base is not super happy what's going on there, but I think you give Napier another year as well, and you use that buyout money to try to buy some players on the market and get the team better quicker, and it's kind of changing the calculus with how you fire people.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. I hope he gets it right. I'm interacted with a lot of Florida fans. We're hanging out at a friend's house Friday night. He had friends in from Gainesville and Tampa. They were great people. It felt like it felt a lot like hanging out with Texas people, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to Gainesville, and I think Napier's got him in a better place than people realize. Except they didn't help me out on defense there. They had been playing better in previous weeks, and they looked lost. You had wide open guys all over the place all day. That tells you that Sark just had them dead to rights.
Yeah, Florida's kind of similar. I mean, higher acceptance rate school or lower acceptance rate school. There's kind of like the academic portion of Florida and stuff like that. There's some similarities there. And everyone I talked to said they liked the Florida fans. They thought they were cool, and that the Florida fans also had a good time at DKR. So I think it was a good cultural exchange there from Texas and Floridians. I saw DeAndre Robinson in there a bit. He looked like a freshman, but damn, you see the size and potential. Yeah, he was a bummer to lose, man.
Going into that summer where he committed to Texas, I had said that he's probably the most important guy in that entire class outside of Colin Simmons. And it's part of it's his potential and size. Part of it's they're headed to the SEC, and part of it is you just can't find guys like that very often. So that was a tough loss. That put the onus on them having to recruit this class at a very high level at defensive tackle. But DeAndre's, he's kind of like Sharma, so they've got it coming in. It's just a little bit year later. You want to get that development started, but yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. Maybe we hear that name again sometime down the road.
That'd be awesome. All right. Any more Florida thought? Here's the tough part with those kind of games. It kind of ends up like preseason-y, where like you can take some good things from it, but it's really hard to dissect and kind of project some of that going forward. And so it's like that's why the blowouts are a little bit tougher for analysis for me. I thought Quinn looked better, but then it's like, will Quinn look better versus a better defensive line, right? And so it's like kind of those things where it's a little tricky that I have trouble with the analysis. I kind of want those games to be closer so we have a second half, to analyze. But also on the flip side, not having to stress for a second was also enjoyable. But I don't know how much you can take from it. What do you guys think?
I mean, look, for me, I don't mind it because the whole team you just need confidence that you're playing well. With the more games, the more plays that you got consistently playing good, you're going to see yourself on film. You're going to feel good about yourself going into the next week. Your practice habits are going to be a little bit better because you're just feeling better. It's a different buzz around the team, right? And so I don't mind it so much from a team's aspect of, hey, we're buzzing, we're rolling right now. I think even Sark said in the press conference or to the team, feel like he's getting on a heater, right? Like you want your team to feel that way. And so going into the next week, it doesn't matter who you play. You're going to play better just because you got a different standard than everybody else.
Yeah, I didn't mind it because you look at them and they're the same size. They're similar athletes, maybe not the same athletes, but there's a lot of there's some similarities to the roster construction, and they just they kicked their tail, and they should have similar athletes, but they got out athleted. Bond was running away from them. DeAndre Moore was getting behind him, couldn't quite convert. But yeah, I think that Florida's biggest issue is coordination right now. And their biggest issue is obviously injuries. But I still think there's takeaways from that game. But the number one thing that can happen this entire month is Quinn gets back to his confident ways. The guy that was throwing no look passes, the guy that was stepping up in the pocket.
Yeah,
that's what has to happen, because Texas has a real chance to win the national championship if they leave November with the best quarterback on a team that's under real consideration. There's the teams that are under real consideration, I would say, are Oregon, Ohio State. You never know with Alabama, if they can sneak into the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous.
Dude, it's weird. A bunch of teams could do it theoretically. Yeah. Sleeper pick, maybe Ole Miss, dude, which would sound crazy, but
there's who's going to sneak into the playoffs you're going to have because of the way the schedule's set up, there's a lot of teams that are going to have similar records. That's why Texas just needs to keep winning and take care of their own business. But that's kind of like what you said in the lead-in. We had a great weekend away from DKR as well, as far as college football goes. Not to mention the way that OU lost was quite enjoyable.
Such a brutal way to just rip your heart out way to lose too, which is great for us. Good stuff. Hey guys, since we no longer have Longhorn Network, how can I watch Sark's press conferences and availability? The Texas has now released an app on iPhone. I don't use it through the website. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I'm trying to pull it up for you. LHN, Longhorn Network app, and that's where you can watch Sark's press conferences. And they'll have them live while they're going on too. But that's the trick. You won't be able to find it on like the ESPN app, how we're used to, that kind of stuff. It's actually its own app. So
can you type that into the comment forum, Connor?
Yeah, let me make sure that I have it spelled right.
Yeah, I was looking for it on YouTube last week. Actually, I watched it and recorded it, voice recorded Sark's, and then I couldn't find it on YouTube myself. I didn't even know that they migrated all of them over there.
Yeah, it's all on the LHN app. And I've had a bunch of friends like, I can't find it on ESPN. I'm like, it's not on ESPN anymore.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people say they like the LHN app better than the actual LHN. It runs more smoothly.
Well, everything's like on demand, which is nice, like at your fingertips, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, you have to have the special app. That's also why people were like re-uploading it to YouTube, and UT started striking it down because they're trying to drive people to the app. So people that were uploading on YouTube were getting in trouble by the school. Which understandable. You pay all that money for an app. You have a staff. You have, so they want you to go to the app is the answer. Don't wait for it on YouTube because it's not going to be officially released on YouTube. If you see it, somebody ripped it. All right. That's weird. Same time. Thank you. Can y'all tell me where to find the Sark pressers? So difficult to find. You'll find them on the app. Appreciate you, EJ.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that super chat. And always go to Inside Texas. If you're not a member at Inside Texas, still go to our front page. There's going to be a lot of free content. Pretty much any of the content we don't generate ourselves. We write it, of course, but if it's generated by Sark in a press conference or the players, we're going to have free articles on the front page. So go check us out. And there's a tab that says news. It'll just be a run of articles. You can see if it's premium or not. If it's free, click on it, and you'll get a rundown of what Sark said, the player said. We have a lot of free content on Inside Texas.
Yeah. Is it on Android or iPhone? I have no idea. I only have iPhone, so I would hope so. That's still a big part of the market. Okay, cool. There was another comment I was looking for.
Damon's comment should have come up green, so I knew he wasn't an Apple guy.
Yeah. Let me see if there was one question I was trying to hit right before. Okay. Would conference alignment be better with smaller conferences like the old Big 12 where everybody plays everybody? I don't like the thought of any team playing 3 times in a season. I mean, I would prefer everyone gets to play everyone. It gets rid of this, like, you have an easy schedule. You didn't play this guy, and now we have to go to like the 3rd or 4th rules on tiebreakers.
Yeah.
But the reality is too, like, these mega conferences are just going to be too big.
Yeah, this was just a 1 year sort of, or they're still getting their feet wet and figuring out everything. I don't think. I mean, they might be done in the short term, but the long term, you might even see more realignment and some of these conferences getting even bigger down the road. So that's when you start talking about pods and things like that. So I don't know how it's going to play out. This year is kind of wonky, just the way that I don't know. It didn't seem like they had the greatest foresight on this, especially with the parity. You can have a lot of 10-2 teams. It looks like,
dude. It can if Tennessee loses to Georgia, it is going to be a nightmare. There's going to be like 5 or 6 teams tied for second place.
Can you imagine Kirby Smart losing back-to-back games? I can't.
Right.
I had a feeling they were going to drop one. I felt good about Georgia dropping one to old Mr. Tennessee. Kiffin needed that one in a major way, man.
Yeah, he did.
But it's tough for me to see Kirby Smart losing back-to-back games. So I think that's going to happen. And then, of course, Texas controls their own destiny by getting A&M last game of the season. A&M doesn't play anybody. They just had a bye. New Mexico State and Auburn can't score.
Yeah.
Basically, A&M's getting to work Texas for about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. So so that's why Texas just needs to keep winning, stay in control of your own destiny. And they should do that. I mean, they're better than every team remaining on their schedule. But A&M is going to be tricky. A&M is going to be a tricky game. That place is going to be bonkers. And like Connor said, like Texas Homer said, they've been preparing Texas nonstop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, you can go with Connor. People know my name. It's all good.
Oh, I didn't know if we unmasked you yet.
Oh yeah, people know my name is Connor. All right, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Everyone, guess who it's going to be? It's going to be.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
All right, real quick. Did Gibson earn more playing time? I know he fumbled, but he does look really good. Yeah, when he fumbled, I was like, oh, no, they're going to put him back in the closet for 4 weeks. But I thought he did a good job. What'd you guys think?
I was glad to see him go back out there, even after the fumble, right? Continue to run hard. Like, you gain in trust, man. He hasn't ran the ball in a while. You don't want him to fumble, but at the same time, like, getting his feet wet, getting some reps under his belt, man, I think it's a good thing to put him back out there. I mean, others have gotten a chance, so, hey, it happens.
Yeah, this is going to be a too soon comment, but better that he fumbled in that game than in the second half of a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Everybody has these. I've seen Cheeky Barber fumbled all the damn time. I mean, is he in the Hall of Fame? Rondé's in the Hall, right? But I mean, Cheeky's a borderline Hall of Fame guy. He fumbled all the damn time. So, I just keep feeding him and give him the coaching points, take advantage of it, and keep him on a tighter leash. Though you've got to hold him accountable too.
Well, Choice was on a smooth run, dude. He got gifted Bijan, Roshan, and Jonathan Brooks. Like, now you got to deal with it. Now you got the young backs stressing you out.
Yep.
Now you got to deal with it, which is funny.
All right, here's a good comment. So we all want the chaos too, David, but we want to be sitting on the hilltop while the chaos happens.
We don't want to be a part of the chaos.
Yeah, it's like the bye weeks. Texas was on 2 bye weeks this year, and both were chaotic. Mm-hmm. And we just got to sit back and relax, put our hand in a nice cold cooler, and enjoy the day. We don't want to be part of the chaos. We just want to observe it. That's my sentiment, anyways.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Wayne, yak yard's still a big part of Quinn's numbers Saturday. Yep. Still not good with the deep ball, and his footwork still an issue. No pressure and still off the back foot. Pressure, it's much worse. Too critical. So,
I mean, he hit a couple. Just because the ball got dropped doesn't mean he threw a bad ball. I mean, he threw a couple. That one was perfect. And the ball, I don't know if you want to call that a deep ball. It was 30-something yards. So that should have been a touchdown too. So
yeah,
I don't know.
If it's over 20, it's classified. I use PFF's rules. If it's over 20, it's a deep ball. So yak are still a big part, right? But also yak is always going to be a big part of Sarkisian. That his kind of like core philosophy is like, I realized at BYU, I don't have to be the athlete. I have to throw the ball to the athlete. Nail me. So that's always going to be a huge part of Sarkisian's offense. So I don't ding Quinn there, but I do get your point. That when we look at 300 yards and 150 were after the catch, I get the difference there. Still not good with the deep ball. I think he means in his footwork. So the one on Golden on the corner, no pressure, same thing, back foot for no reason, slings it, still completes. But that's kind of why I gingerly stated what happens when a good defensive line shows up. So I think it was good for Quinn. That performance won't scale. So he's going to have to continue to get better with his footwork. So too critical. It depends. I see what you're saying though. And, but during a win, no one wants to hear it, Wayne. Trust me. I get caught for that all the time.
No, I think that's fair. You know, you always talk about process more than results, and you're always trying to figure out what does scale. You know, what they did to Vanderbilt was not going to work against Georgia, so it's frustrating because you might play a team as good as Georgia again, or at least as good as that Georgia team was that one night. For that one night, Georgia was a really good team. But so yeah, it's fair to critique that stuff. But I think we kind of lose sight of some of his good passes too, because maybe it wasn't converted. But there's no point in having great athletes if you don't get yak. you set them up for yak. Like Homer was saying, when Sark first got to Texas, he said he hated having wide receivers that were still, talking about like comebacks, curls. He wants to hit the wide receiver in motion with something to make a play. And that, you have these guys that run 10-5, 10-4. There's going to be yak. What I liked about Bond was he was shirking off, contact. Guys were getting a hand on him or trying to slow him down. He was running right through it. He played with good power, good strength for his size. It was fun to see him back. It was shocking to see nobody had more than 3 catches because Quinn was getting the ball around, and sharing it quite a bit. It was just fun to see. But yeah, look, it's always fair to talk about guys' issues that the NFL is going to be bringing up anyway, right? So anything Wayne said is what the NFL is going to be on their tape, and when he gets drafted and they're breaking down his tape, they're going to talk about his pros and cons. That's all fair game.
Yeah. So we'll have to see if it scales, right? But what I thought was important is Quinn did look more confident. Didn't look like he was seeing ghosts. I don't think he was dealing with a lot of ghosts to even have to deal with that. But given this game's context, he performed well within this context. We'll see.
I like that scramble he had on that second drive. Somebody mentioned it on the board because I mentioned that the play of the game to me was that 4th and 1 where Sark went for it on their own 24. You just don't see that happen a whole lot early in games, and but you kind of knew it was over. The play before it, Quinn showed some decisiveness, ran a little cut and go, made a guy miss and got downhill, made it, got 9 yards. That was a quiet play of the game right there. And he showed confidence and decisiveness, and that's what we need to see more of.
Yeah, I said he had the Sam Ellinger dead leg movement. He didn't miss his face. I was happy to see it.
Yeah, he looked there's times he can be athletic, and he looked athletic on that play.
Happy we got Arch in there this late in the season. Wish he didn't throw into triple coverage. We talked about that on postgame. Did Sark rein him in after that? Here's the thing about Arch, man. You can be in triple coverage, but if my receiver's behind you, I don't care. You can be in 11 coverage. But Arch has like DJ Lagway. They're young guys with strong arms that believe in themselves. They're head hunting. They're trying to take the top. They don't care about second and third reads. They're trying to score. Both of those quarterbacks are really talented, and they'll rein them in a little bit. But you'd rather have that than the hyper timid quarterback that you're having to force deep. So it's better to rein that in.
I was talking about this with some friends on Saturday. They're going to need Arch's play style next year with losing a lot of offensive linemen. He's going to have to have really good pocket presence and move around and make plays with his legs. He's got that escapability. He's got escapability that I think people don't realize. They know he's fast in a straight line once he gets going, but he's a playmaker, and they're going to need all of that next year when they're retooling this whole offensive line.
When he was rolling out right, and that UF defender tried to grab him and take him down, and it would have taken down Quinn easy, and he just shirked it off and kept going. I was like, all right, that's going to be an important trait, like you said, going forward.
Next year is going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Cam Williams, okay from him going out for a second. He came back in.
He did come back in.
Yeah, he came back in. I don't know. I haven't asked about him. He came in. I'll check on it, but I don't think there's anything lingering there.
Cool. Good, man. Glad you can watch it now. Yeah, they did a really poor job marketing this app. It's basically been all word of mouth. We've been able to get people to even know it exists. But it'll help you now. Now you can watch the pressers live. It's pretty sweet. Okay, so that was a lot of Florida. Let's talk kind of the SEC race real quick. I'll pull up our.
We had a recruiting question too. I want to make sure Roger G doesn't. We're going to get to that.
The Grayson one.
Yeah, I want to make sure he knows we'll get to that question whenever you want to.
Yeah. Where is it though?
It's under Demond Simeon and
but
between David Dalrymple. Here it is. Boom. Let's just do it real quick. Yeah, this is easy. Yeah, of course they're going to stay off after Brew. They need they're going to take 4 or 5 DBs. They've got actually I would bump that to 5 with the Zealous 6 reclassifying. And so yeah, there's definitely room for Dorian Brew. And then, they'll keep swinging on Devin Sanchez. It's going to be very tough, but that would be a best player available guy that they would take no matter what, a numbers buster. But yeah, Dorian Brew, they're all in on Dorian. They're still on Kobe Sellers as well. So yeah, DB's kind of just getting started. They're going to add a couple more guys. Littleton. I saw a couple predictions went in for him, and I thought I would be joining that group last night, but I just didn't quite hear enough to give me confidence in it just yet. I know I know Georgia, Alabama, and Penn State are still trying. He liked Michigan. Michigan felt good after his visit there, so it might be one of those things where people are getting excited whatever visit he makes most recently. But one of the guys that had a prediction is also the guy that broke his decommitment. So that gives me a little bit more credence that, hey, maybe they're going to get him. But I know Texas feels pretty good about it, but they weren't teaming with confidence as far as I could tell.
Dude, you're going to have a tough potential conference championship.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. If Tennessee beats Georgia, man, who are you rooting for, dude? Are you going to have to flip a coin? It's going to be tough. When will we know the game time for Kentucky? I have no idea. Joe knows all that kind of stuff.
Where's Joe? I know. Well,
yeah.
They're not going to see Joe for a couple of days, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Joe's got some big news coming. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what channel it's on. This is why I have Joe. I have Joe.
Exactly.
That's the exact reason. Isn't it normally the month? Wouldn't they say today? Isn't it like 2 weeks in advance or something?
I can lie and say, yeah, for sure. But I literally have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about taking
I wait till whatever IT article comes out.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, Tommy. Well, here's what Homer messed up on. You don't bring up a question you don't have the answer to.
We got to serve the audience, okay? We have to be honest. All right. How about that secondary who had a rough time playing the ball the past few years, and they're now leading the SEC in interceptions? Yeah, the secondary has been absolutely incredible to watch, especially getting on the secondary coaches, and then you see what happens whenever the talent infusion comes and the maturity and the experience, and you see how different a unit can look. It's been really impressive what they've been able to do.
Hey, man, I said it early September. It's the best secondary in the country. I ran into Makuba's parents right before that interception that he had. Just asking for the background on his recruitment. I knew it. I just wanted to see if they were going to tell me that it was just, Texas didn't recruit him hard. Tom Herman kind of screwed up. But yeah, you like seeing those Centex guys balling out there. That's a pretty close group. Taft, Barron, and of course Makuba, all Austin area guys, all veterans. It's been a pleasure to see them return to that. And then Ty Anthony Smith, linebacker, he got good depth on that pick. Ball found him, and he converted it. It's good to see them back to playmaking.
Okay. And Blake just mentioned it, communication. It's on a different level. It's like a complete 180, man. You got a lot of veterans back there. You guys play a lot of football, man, but they're just communicating at a high level. Like, you don't see any busted coverages. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're communicating such a high level. Everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be, who they have, and even on zone coverage and where they're dropping to. Switch concepts, nothing messes with them anymore. You know what I mean? So just to see that, you can tell they put in a lot of time, and you can tell those guys really, really trust each other and they love each other, right? Because they're playing for one another. So it's just a different, completely different secondary.
You saw the Makuba saying Jade Barron for the Thorpe Award and stuff like that. So it's like, you can tell that they're a close group.
Yeah, Barron should be up for that. Everybody's in love with Hunter, but yeah, that defense, that secondary is exactly what we were hoping to see. We kind of theorized it would be this good, but we didn't know. And yeah, Alfred Collins gets credit for both those tips. Those were big plays. What's the pass rush like for Texas? Not just sack numbers, but do you know where they rank PFF on pass rush?
I can pull it up.
Because I would not think they're great. I would think they're pretty good. So even if the secondary gets even better pass rush, we'll probably see even more turnovers.
They're not bad. They're doing well right now. They're like, for their PFF total pass rush grade unit wise, is like they're like 7th in the country. They're doing well.
Oh yeah, good. All right.
But I think their sacks or something are like 30th. I'll be able to. I have the stats. I bring them up during Paul's show tomorrow. Great D-line pressure and pass rush, including tip balls, make a huge difference for DBs. Yeah, it seems like we're finally playing like this holistic defense, and everything's connected. Remember, Paul would always get mad about it. The like disconnect between our second. It didn't seem like our front and our back end were connected.
Right.
And now it seems like everything is.
We talked about that when PK got hired and he didn't have his guys to work with. We said that's going to be an issue before they ever played a game. and it reared its head for a while. Now, there's times it looked better. 2022, that secondary was pretty good. They had the issue was what was it, third money down defense. This year it's playing everywhere. Team run fits are good. Team coverage is good. It's just a well coordinated unit, And the PK had a number of these at Washington. He had a number of them at Boise State. I think Johnny Nansen has certainly come in and lended a helping hand. And the defense sets a high floor. They're in every game that they play. Of all the teams that are legit title contenders, Texas has the best defense.
Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all. Before we keep going, a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512 or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
All right.
Hey, interest rates dropping. It's time to go buy some houses, guys.
Yeah. And then once you do that, holler at Gabe Winslow. We got you set up, guys.
All right, we got a little life concierge business going on here. And if that house needs a remodel, we got a guy to remodel it for you too, right?
And if you need someone to manage your finances during all of these decisions, David McClown will help you out.
Yeah. And if you're lacking money and just want to gamble, go
if you want to
get that down payment.
Yeah, we made sure we had a total offering for you guys. Is our rush defense a concern, or am I getting in my own head? In that game, the rush defense was not good. I think Florida's EPA per rush, how good they were at rushing, they were in the 89th percentile. So they did really good running against us. But like I said, in these type of games, when you're up by 100 at half, where's the motivation at? Do you really care if they run the clock out? You're going to limit injuries. So it's like, that's why it's tough with these like blowout games to really judge the team.
Yeah, they're playing a lot of guys that don't have as much experience on the front line as well. They're emptying out the bench pretty early, a lot earlier than normal. But I mean, you'd like to see them play better. But here's the thing: people are gonna, they're gonna get yards some kind of way, and it's not going to be through the air, especially with a walk-on quarterback and injuries at receiver. So that they had to stick with that with the run game. Yeah, you would like to see them play a little bit better, but like I said, a lot of backups were in there, a lot of young guys were in there. Overall, it's good. I wouldn't take a big takeaway from that. Let's see if Kentucky can run the ball. Let's see if A&M can run the ball. Those will be better barometers.
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach. Sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll definitely see. You may see it versus Arkansas. See what Quentin Jackson can do if he's healthy. Because they're trying to run right at us. So I'll gauge it versus Florida playing. Everybody got to play.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, Jake, I know it kind of feels worse than it is. Right now, this defense and opponent yards per rush is 16th in the country. So it's still a really good unit. It's just, I think if you try to watch last year and compare it to this year, it does look like there's a huge drop off, but still it's still a top 20 unit in the country. We'll be all right there. And if the passing defense stays that strong, man, then yeah, let them get a couple yards on the ground. Who cares?
Yeah. Pass defense isn't going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
All right. AP poll. So we can talk about the brackets. Texas moves to number 3. Because Miami takes a loss and Georgia takes a loss ahead of us. That means that the value is that Texas is leading to get the bye in the bracket.
That would be the 5th seed because you have to move up the conference champions. So BYU would move up to BYU would move up to 3. Texas would move to 5. Who's moving to 4? Whoever wins.
Texas wouldn't move to 5 if they win. If we win the championship, we don't move to 5.
No, not if we win the conference championship, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm tripping out.
Yeah. So Texas, that's why we're in the driver's seat.
Right,
so if Texas wins out, we'll get the first week bye, which will be nice. It avoided us doing that dreaded like Alabama Miami run. And now Miami went down, but it's pretty interesting here. Indiana, man, I got to watch one of their games. Frankly, I haven't seen it once, and they're looking like they're the real deal. But man, the Big Ten just cleaning up this year, man. Look at that.
Yeah, I
Forward.
mean, this is the first time I've actually thought Penn State is fairly realistic. Like, there's years they come in and they get the hype, and you're like, they're not going to do anything. I still don't think they're going to win. I don't know that they're going to win. They're the third best team in that conference, but I think having them fourth in the country is fair.
Yeah, with how it's panning out, like, yeah, I think it's fair. The problem is everyone, including me, wants to compare like previous years Penn State. Like in this context, Penn State's good. Any other year, Penn State's like the 8th or 9th best team. But you could say that about almost every team. This year. It's a weird year. Hopefully parity stays. Hopefully we do get more NFL-y and you don't necessarily know who's going to win every game. So this is On Three's Bracketology by Andy Staples.
SMU and BYU.
That's fun. I love it, though.
This looks like something Desmond Howard would have picked like 3 years ago or something,
Yeah.
When they had Baylor and A&M in there.
Yeah. First 4 out. Ooh, Georgia wouldn't make it, huh?
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
I'm not the only one think Tennessee beats Georgia, though.
Man, and Miami would be out, they said. Jeez, dude. They just went from what? They were ranked number 3.
Yeah. But I think it's because their whole point is like they didn't have a schedule. They didn't play anyone ranked or whatever. Same with Indiana, though, right? They haven't played anyone ranked.
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
Pretty weird.
No.
But here's my thing, man. If you're 13th out of 12 teams, boo-hoo. If you couldn't have been a top 12 team, I get it when it's the 4-team playoffs and you're like, man, there's really stuff to argue about. But if you're on the bubble as the 13th team, man, that's your own fault. Even though Georgia, I don't know. Should they be in? They're so sketchy. We have they have an outsized spot in our minds because of how they beat us. But if you watch every other Georgia game, they've been a super sketchy team. So I don't really know, man.
Yeah, well, they've got to beat Tennessee. We'll know a lot more about them next week.
Yeah. Yeah, Tennessee, man, that's a good matchup. Well, it's a good matchup for our defense versus their offense. But they have a really good defense and might not be good for our offense. It seems like you just have to rely on Quinn being an older player and Nico being a younger player. I think that would be the matchup of that game.
I like this. I like this bracket for Texas. I think they should just call it a season now and start the playoffs.
Yeah, me too. I'm good with going forward. Man, the 5 seed is the place to be. It actually is. The 5 seed is a real sweet go because you end up playing like the G5 champ and then probably a Big 12 team. So
that's what Del Conte wants. He wants that another 100,000 people in the stadium. Yeah. Concessions. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The incentive for the actual schools, they're like, I don't want a week off.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to pack out the stadium. I didn't even think about that, the money side of it.
Yeah.
Why must teams get up like that for us but sleepwalk when they play everyone else?
Everybody's Super Bowl, man.
I do. The weirdest part is I'm a Texas fan, so I can't relate, and I grew up a Texas fan and all that. But like the hate for Texas, it confuses me. I get that the media will constantly twist everything into being Texas's fault, and there's like a lot of weird hit pieces. But to me, it's like I don't get it, man. We get accused of being the sketchy team, but like a lot of the problems were like we were being too politically correct and too nice. I wanted to be a little more down and dirty. It's just weird, man. I don't get the hate and how like a hand sign has like traveled across the nation. But maybe I'm just too in my bubble, I guess. Exactly 5 is Kush.
Okay.
Now give me the bye week.
Yeah.
A month from now, we're going to say what we always say right before a bye week. Bye week sure came at a good time. Yeah, we say that every bye week. We're going to be saying that again in a month.
Yeah, the first time for sports media to say the bye week came at the wrong time, it'll be the first time.
Yeah, but you're going to have A&M and the SEC championship game. It's going to be time for a bye.
Yep.
What is interesting, if you do get the bye and you do win the championship, you're going to be playing a lower seed, right? Like 2 is going to end up playing 11 or however it works. Is that how it? Or
yeah, you would get the second lowest.
But the problem is with so much parity, dude. Like the lower teams, you're still playing like some damn good teams. Like I don't want to play Alabama or Ole Miss. So some of those situations are like we have it screwed up, man. Like we're gonna have to keep working on it because if you're,
It'll work out.
shouldn't be allowed to play Boise State, and then the other one has to play Bama. It's not how it should go, but it'll be fun. All right, that's the bracketology, guys. It'll be interesting. Texas just has to win out. Texas wins out, automatically in it. Nothing to stress about. But A&M's going to be fun, man. A lot of fun. All right, let's talk Arkansas. So the rivalry returns. I've been able to break them down a little bit. It's a fun team. It's a pretty good offense. It's one of the better offenses we played. But they just shoot themselves in the foot all the time. They're last in the country for fumbles. They fumble 2.5 times per game. It's absurd, dude. So like they'll make a really good play. You know who Taylor Green reminds me of? He reminds me of why am I blanking on the Oklahoma State quarterback for the past 90 years? Spencer Sanders.
Spencer Sanders? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like not in like comp like play style, well, a little bit in play style, but the play extension, but also making disastrous mistakes when it matters.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Taylor Green. Really special. He'll do some awesome stuff. You're like, man, he'll freak you out. But then he goes and destroys it all by making some silly play. He also has the worst like leaking pocket I've probably seen of any quarterback. He will not step up in that pocket, dude. He is constantly behind the tackles. He's always going to roll out. It's pretty crazy. So Arkansas is going to be fun. Of course, like when the main I wasn't really alive and cognizant for like the main Southwest Conference, that kind of level of Arkansas hate. But what are y'all's memories kind of going through this rivalry? I have the more recent years, of course. But.
I remember the Matt Jones game. People on this video will remember that, where Matt Jones kind of took over. That was a frustrating one. Yeah, my memories on games just ain't what it used to, dude. I barely remember the next one, and then it's on to the next one, or the previous one, and then it's on to the next one. I obviously 2021 is still.
You remember that one?
I'm looking out the window where I was when I got a phone call a couple hours before that game and said Texas was, man, they were struggling with their run fits, and I'm like, oh man, I already predicted them to win. I can't back out of that now. And then they got worked. So yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, I remember Matt Jones. My memories of Arkansas when they had the stable of running backs, Darren McFadden, those guys. But yeah, it's an interesting team. And the quarterback, yeah, like you said, one play looks amazing. The next play, he's what's going through his head. But it's a productive offense. They run it, they pass it. It's going to be a good test for the defense.
Yeah, Petrino's the real deal. He's an offensive coordinator, like one of the better offenses we face, no doubt.
Yeah, they got wide receivers that threaten the field. They got a tight end that they'll throw it to.
They had backs; they're all hurt, but they had good backs. Dynamic quarterback play. Petrino's scheme's the real deal. They have really good success rate, meaning like they're really consistent, like 9th in the country for success rate. If they did not shoot themselves in the foot every chance they got, this would be a very scary offense because they're incredibly buttoned down and able to move the ball forward, and then they fumble. Or they're like Texas last year. They're incredible between the 20s, and they bog down in the red zone.
Look, I've been watching Arkansas since the 80s only because my uncle played there, right? And so I got to see him play against Metcalf, and then he still got the VHS tapes that he talks about and brags about. But other than that, man, this is like this hate week 2.0. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a lot of family ties because they used to come into Texas and get kids all the time in the 80s and stuff like that.
They got TJ Metcalf. Is he related? They got a safety.
I'm not sure if he's.
Could he be? I don't know. You just said the name, and so it kept me on. They're one of their starting safeties. Same last name. They are a bad red zone team. Yes, they are. Any unexpected takes this week for Horns or Hogs? Check back in tomorrow. Me and Paul are going to do the actual breakdown of Arkansas. We'll spend a whole hour breaking it down. That's where you'll probably get more unexpected takes. Hogs pass D is bad. Yes, it is. Very bad. If you watch that Ole Miss game, yikes, dude.
How is that the same team that played Tennessee? It's crazy.
Dude, and the weirdest part is like they're more likely to get slaughtered at home. Like they lose these like through the years, they've been just getting beat up at home. And then on the flip side, Quinn is really strong away. So you have a team that's like struggling at home, versus a team that's pretty good, really good on the road in Texas. Now they're coming off a bye, right? So they've got 2 weeks to kind of plot on Texas here. That'll be interesting. Of course, they're going to have ample motivation, but luckily it's an 11 a.m. game too, so you're not going to get the full brunt of Fayetteville. Because I remember watching that game, and when we heard we were going to the SEC, I was like, man, whatever, the SEC, who cares, dude? And then I listened to how loud that stadium was the entire time. I was like, okay, this is a little bit of a different. You don't get that at Iowa State with the the 45 fans there.
No, the SEC is different.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, it was pretty much a trip. Can't wait to see the Christmas tree. Yeah, Weston, it absolutely is a Christmas tree stats, and I'm going to mention it tomorrow. It's all red and green, blinking red and green. So a team that's really struggling with its identity in itself. Oh, yeah, I remember when Ian tried to tell me Miami would be a matchup versus Texas in the playoffs. Yeah, Ian did not want to play Miami in the playoffs because he doesn't want to face a passing offense that has that high of a ceiling. So Ian's whole argument was the fans were like, man, we'll play Miami. And Ian's like, why? If you had a choice, why would you choose to play Miami? But they regressed back towards the mean. They've been playing with fire too much. They're a scary team, man. We knew something bad was going to happen to them, but that's still a scary offense. Cam Ward can do some pretty magical stuff.
Yeah, Cam Ward gives them a chance, but I'm kind of with these fans. I understand what Ian's saying because he's Ian understands that modern football is all about the passing attack.
Yeah.
And having a dynamic quarterback, but they were due for a long time. And anybody that watched them, they had to be escape artists against some pretty average teams. I'm not worried about Miami either. Now they're on the outside looking in after being ranked number 3. It's wild.
Yeah, Arkansas will be up for this game. Don't sleep on this rivalry. This is where it's interesting, right? Are they at a breaking point? Ole Miss beat them like a drum, and to be honest, they quit.
They quit. Yeah,
they quit. And so, were they able to get them back for the bye and get them motivated for Texas? Did they give up like Ole Miss? Arkansas is at a turning point right now. They get to choose, but they can go off a cliff too if they don't bounce back here. So it's all about a coaching job there and getting their psychology right because they absolutely quit versus Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think they'll be in it early. They'll be up for it early, right? But I think Texas can, you hit them with enough body blows, man. Everything else will open up and then they'll quit. I feel like they'll lay down, but
the thing about Arkansas is that program and the fans still have a lot more of the rivalry to them than Texas fans do. Texas fans are, they haven't played as much in the years. It's it's all OU, and then A&M, and then Texas really gets up for the bigger games, so they play good teams. Arkansas, it's still the 80s over there. They still look at Texas the same way, and we saw that in 2021 with how fired up those fans were. So it's gonna be a fun environment despite it being at 11. But yes, we're thankful it's at 11.
Yeah, but I like the rivalry renewing it because that's something that's kind of before me, and I only get to hear about it. Man, in the 80s, it sure was tough. But I think it's cool, man, especially to be in a pod if they do the Arkansas, A&M, Oklahoma. That's awesome, man.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
And Fayetteville's fun, man. That's a cool part of Arkansas. People don't give it. Yeah, people don't give it. People don't understand. That part of Arkansas is gorgeous, man. We went to Eureka Springs and hung out at a cabin. It's a really cool area of Arkansas. People sleep on it. It would be a lot scarier if it was a night game. I agree.
Yeah.
Isn't Ark running at Texas as quarterback or committed to Texas? I think you're asking about Jaquindon.
Yeah, maybe.
Isn't Arkansas running back at Texas as a QB or was committed to Texas? Yes.
Yeah,
he was more than committed. He was more than committed. He was here.
Yeah. Went to Utah. Wanted to try to be a quarterback, and then ended up in his logical position. It was always going to be running back or linebacker. And he's dangerous with the ball in his hands. Man, he's a load in the open field. It looks like T.J. Duckett when he's running down the field. Remember old Duckett?
Oh, man, Michigan State.
Yeah. And Duckett had a long career with the Falcons, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if Jaquindon gets to play. Sam Pittman is notoriously – he lies about injuries a lot. And he lies about injuries a lot even with the rules, the new SEC rules. So he's still not following the rules. And I like Pittman, but he is a super unreliable when it comes to injuries, and he's even doing it with the new rules. He's players are hurt that he's saying are not hurt, and vice versa. So which is not fun for me because one of my favorite parts of doing the breakdown, these new SEC rules, I know exactly who's injured, and now I just have to go back to my old ways of like DMing sports writers to try to figure out who's hurt. Eric, the darkness is upon you.
Yeah. I saw that.
Petrino versus Sark, old OC, old hot OC versus the new hot offensive mind. Yeah. Petrino still got it though, man. And he's gonna remember the Houston drags that they were killing us with. Petrino loves those slow drag routes. He doesn't even do them that fast. He like Armstrong just kind of like walks through the middle of the field and they get it to him. So be wary of the drags. They're not a very vertical team. They're kind of like Texas in that regard. It's a lot more crossing stuff that you have to worry about with Petrino. But like I said, if Talon Green didn't destroy his chances so often, I'd be really freaked out. Now, if they suddenly have one game where they decide not to fumble and not to do dumb stuff, you can't just say like you're going to roll over Arkansas because they go to either extreme very quickly. You have to be kind of aware of them.
And I'm waiting to see if Green is even fully healthy because I know he had a lower leg injury the last time he played. And so if you take away his legs, I don't trust him to just beat you as a passer. But
he'll still run on it because he came in he went out with a knee issue, came back with a knee brace, and he still ran. So like he's not scared, but I don't know how smart that is, but he does it. Where everyone's Super Bowl, they'll be up for it at least in the beginning. Yeah, the trick though is like in the third quarter, do they give up? You know, I hope they don't, because honestly, we're getting to the point too where I know the Texas fans get mad because everyone says our schedule was easy. Our schedule was easy. Like we just have to eat that one, guys. You know, and we've gotten kind of lucky too. Florida on their third string quarterback. Right. I want Arkansas to play us hard, and I want to go to the fourth quarter and win.
Yeah,
this has been too light, guys. Like OU, we're going to play the rivalry with OU. Okay, their quarterback's out. You know, it's like we have got a really lucky path. I know it makes us mad because all the rivals are correct, but they're correct. It's been an easier schedule. On top of it being an easier schedule, we've played injured teams. So I want Arkansas to play us tough. I want to see us scrap out and do a good job because I feel like it's been really light on us. The one time we got tested with Georgia, we didn't respond well. So I need to see a little bit more action.
Hey, the defense responded well. The people keep associating the whole entire team with the offense. I gotta keep saying no. The defense is fine. The defense played well. Offense, you know. But you're right. We need team's best shot. It's going to make us better.
Yeah. We don't want the light work, especially we don't want to be going in versus A&M, and you know we've had smooth. Like, we need teams to punch us in the mouth and test us because A&M's absolutely going to come out hair on fire. That's going to be important. No, blowouts through the natty. Yeah, they seem fun, but I do want us to get tested a little bit. And maybe it's because I'm kind of cheating it because I don't think Arkansas will be able to win. So I'm like, yeah, let them give us a couple punches and then we can still win, you know?
Yeah. But you're thinking ahead. The teams we might face in the playoffs, right? You want us to be tested before we meet those guys, and then. But
yeah, I'm not talking about Arkansas. I don't care about Arkansas.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I'm talking about A&M, and I'm talking about the third round of the playoffs. If we walk them, why not? Forget 4-quarter games. We're not going to artificially like throw the game, but if we get into a game where it's an actual game, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be mad about that post game. But I'm lying. I probably will end up being mad about that post game. So we'll see. They can't win with me a lot of the times. You'll see. No. Since Ole Miss blew them out, we need to do that. I want to see 70 on Ark and to get our get back from 21. So that's interesting, Sam. Sark's not going to put 70 because he doesn't really do that. But Kiffin, it's almost like he was showing his buddy. He was like, hey, this is how you do it, man. Like, you'll do it. And I do agree that this might kind of be Texas Techie because they did embarrass Sark, you know, in those years. And there's revenge motives there. So how about this, guys? Okay, Arkansas rivalry game, probably not the best time to say it. Let's get into a fourth quarter game with Kentucky where emotions are not high and they did not beat us. Let's beat Arkansas by 1,000 points. Let's get tested later on then, I guess.
We may score that much because Arkansas just can't stop the simple stuff, though. So, you know, you never know. They're not that good on defense.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun, man. But I do think Sark has some emotion there. And I thought that was a reality check for us because I thought we were gonna win it too. And I was like new to my breakdowns, and I was like, man, Texas should win this game. And they came and smacked us in the mouth, dude. It's pretty brutal. All right. That'll be fun with Arkansas. Eric, before we head out, let's talk recruiting sentiment, the kind of the global thought process. How are we feeling about recruits? Are we portal needs, all that kind of stuff? And is that relying upon winning out? Kind of what's the
there's going to be a lot of portal needs. We'll break that down in great detail. But December, January, the spring window is going to be pretty lively for Texas. There's going to be a lot of things to replace. And they're changing their approach a little bit here or there. Just kind of tailoring it to what they need going into next season. So we're going to see a few differences there than we've seen in the past. The overall sentiment, and I talked to a few people, is like they just got to keep winning. They feel like they got everybody's attention right now. They just need to keep delivering W's, and if they do that, they're going to be right where they need to. I still owe the Texas fan base 4 more flips. I still feel good about that. You're just going to see a lot of activity in probably later November, and then of course early December with the early signing day. So it's December 4th this year. So that the sentiment is just keep winning, keep selling the program. Everybody that they bring in, they're making inroads with. They're getting a good bounce from it. Talk about Littleton. Linebacker Kellen Wiley was on campus this weekend. I feel like he's going to be a pretty obvious replacement for Madden Faremo, assuming they can get Wiley. Wiley is Texas versus Miami. He's a Florida kid, but it's Tampa. I like where Texas is based on what I heard this weekend, but we'll see. There's more to do there. But numbers are going to be interesting. But if they keep winning, everything's going to work out. Texas fans are going to love the class.
Cool. This is a hypothetical. Will Texas gain Jackson and Fasusi if Venables gets fired?
Who's Jackson?
The kid from IMG, right?
Oh, Jaden Jackson, the kid that's already on the team.
Yeah, you hit the portal, I guess.
Is that what you're talking about? I assume you're talking Jaden Jackson. Yeah. Correct me, Mike, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, if he's talking about Jaden Jackson, then that's just dependent on if the guy goes in the portal, everybody's going to be after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? Texas will need, you like that Texas has a bit of a relationship there. You can bet Bo Davis would try to get LSU in on that one. Fasusi, I don't think Fasusi is going to end up happening at Texas for the same reasons I said that I didn't think Texas was going to get him towards the end of his recruitment, which was that they just cannot afford to have a left tackle making, I don't know the exact number. Let's do a hypothetical number. Let's say it's $1 million. They can't have $1 million sitting on the bench. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
A team like OU that has to rebuild, that has a lot to rebuild. West Florida, Texas, they don't have. Yeah, he could start. It makes a lot more sense. So everybody keeps asking about Fasusi. It would have to make a lot more sense financially for Texas to go that route. So I don't see that. But you never rule anything out in recruiting. There's been a couple of interesting developments of late that I'll be able to get into after National Signing Day that it turns your head and you start going, man, you just can't rule anything out. You never know. But I don't think it's going to happen with Fasusi for that reason. You cannot have $1 million sitting on the bench.
I don't think Venables is getting fired this year anyways.
Well, there's some talk that Beadenbaugh will. I don't know if that's real or not. I don't know that program, but if you get a new offensive coordinator, first of all, you're in a tough spot. It's kind of like when Charlie Strong had to go get Sterling Gilbert. Who's going to hook or what?
It's a desperation hire. Like everyone gets fired if you don't work out. It's not
which means that offensive coordinator is going to want to reduce his risk as much as possible, and that the one way to do that would be to bring in his own offensive line coach. So maybe that's a possibility. I don't know, but A&M, I know Texas is thinking A&M will shell out. Now, A&M is probably going to get Lamont Rogers, as Charlie knows. Charlie's been covering that one pretty well. I would be shocked if they got Fasusi, but you can't ever rule anything out entirely.
Cool. Rebuild in year 3 is crazy. We tried to warn him, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Ian really tried to warn him.
I told him getting Dominic, you're getting him for $850 when I said at best you're going to go 8-4. Now you got Dominic, you're going to go 8-4. And you got the Heisman favorite. You let the Heisman favorite walk, idiots.
It's insane, man. They had good programitis. They just thought literally nothing bad can happen to them. They thought the laws of entropy did not affect OU football. And then
people don't realize that a lot of this is cyclical. Unless you're like Ohio State, that's just been good every year this decade, outside of some very weird anomaly. It's cyclical. Texas is never going to be down forever. Texas is never going to be up forever. OU thought it was going to be up forever.
Yeah.
They should have thanked Ian for that information.
Yeah, Ian was trying to warn him.
Yeah, right? He tried to warn him.
They should bring Ian on as a consultant.
They'll crack me up because their board will be like, "What does this idiot Texas writer think he understands Oklahoma football?" It's like, guys, first off, he went to Texas and he works with Inside Texas, but he's a football writer.
Yeah,
that's what he does. He studies all of football.
I could tell Ian I need 500 words on Oregon State, and an hour later he'll have it to me. You know, I mean, he writes football. It's not. When I hired Ian, I told him, "Look, I just want all your Texas writings for the rest of your life. I don't care what you do in the national space." He was a national writer when I got him, as much as a Texas writer.
Right, and they don't get that. They think he's just a Texas writer. It's like, guys, he's also a published author.
Yeah,
like he has a book you guys can read all about flyover football and that kind of stuff. So it's like they just have no concept of what Ian is. They think he's just a Texas writer. He's a national writer that likes Texas. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear they really like a guy. I was going to answer that question for him real quick. Yeah, I hear they like a couple guys at Tennessee. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, they'll
that'd be brutal.
The question is, do we grab a running back in the portal? Yeah, they're gonna get it. They have to. They absolutely have to.
Every team we've played, I was joking with Paul and Drew. We all said the same thing. Every team we've played this year, I'm like, that's a pretty nice looking running back. Like I've been scouting running backs on every team.
You're auditioning for Sark at this point. Every team, just be careful.
Dude, that was like when Kevin Coleman, like the Mississippi State wide receivers, I'm like, they're auditioning, you know?
Yeah.
Every time Matthew Golden caught those touchdowns versus Houston, it's like, you're a Longhorn, Matthew. Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, buddy.
So let's see. How likely is Brian Kelly to be fired? Could those 2025 DL recruits end up at Texas?
I haven't heard anything credible about Kelly being fired. I would be shocked if they had the money to pull that off.
Yeah. Also, I think this is kind of the new, like we just have to readjust. Like 2 losses or whatever in the SEC is not fireable to me.
Yeah. It's fans want blood. They want blood real quick. Brian Kelly, I mean, he needs a little more time to get that defense right, but he's got to hope that Baker hire was good, and bringing Corey Raymond back was good. I've been told by Texas fans that Corey Raymond is, invented the wheel, invented fire. It's the best thing since sliced bread.
He invented defensive backs.
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it right now, guys. I told you that he was on a downturn. That I knew people at Florida that said he was not nearly. He didn't live up to that reputation that he had when he was getting NFL first rounders right and left. So yeah, I'm not sure we're seeing the development that I was promised from Texas fans.
Yeah.
Bring
college football back. Rehire Ed. Go Tigers. All right, y'all.
You wish.
That was fun. All right, tomorrow 9:30 a.m., me and Paul Wadlington, we will be discussing all about Arkansas, all the breakdowns. We're going to dive into all the numbers, and we're going to have a really good understanding of what this team's strengths and weaknesses are. Until then, fans, I had a really good time. I always enjoy this show. Eric, thank you so much. Coach, thank you so much. Fans, have a great day. See y'all tomorrow.